from the president.
Okay, I'm here with Patrick Howley of Breitbart, who's covering the presidential race. Patrick?
Yeah.
Got to be one of the most interesting presidential races that there's ever been this year.
I would certainly think so. I haven't lived to see all of them, but this is certainly one that takes the cake. I think for a long time there's been a populist fervor in the Republican base. I think it was represented by Sarah Palin for a long time. I think it was represented by different figures for a long time. But I think that Donald Trump has really harnessed this energy and harnessed this spirit and this populism more than any politician I've ever seen. And the success he's had is not surprising to me, because I think that this has been a long time coming, and I think people are really ready to overthrow the Republican establishment and get in somebody who can actually win the election.
Now, I did a little coverage in New Hampshire myself, and I interviewed quite a few Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And you're talking average people,
Right,
who think that the rules are not being applied fairly, and that the Republican Party has been selling them out.
Well, you know, they eventually came around to Trump in the end. After the Indiana primary, Reince Priebus came around to Trump, and I think that was the right decision, because the overwhelming voice of the voters showed that Trump was the one who they wanted. And the idea that Paul Ryan, the sitting Republican House Speaker, is not going to get fully on board with the Republican nominee. The idea that Mitch McConnell, the sitting Senate Majority Leader, is not fully going to get on board with the Republican nominee. This is a travesty. In any other election year, this would be considered a travesty, and these people would be replaced. So I'm telling you right now, there are two options in this election. There's Donald Trump and there's Hillary Clinton. You are either for Donald Trump or you're for Hillary Clinton, and that's the way it is right now.
Now, full disclosure, I'm a Ted Cruz guy, and I have not yet.
I love Ted.
And I have not yet decided on Trump myself.
Oh.
I have, but I mean, I loved that speech he gave on Orlando, and I wrote earlier this week that the Orlando speech was a game changer. And I also think, and I'd like your opinion on this as someone who's covered the election.
Yeah.
I think that Trump really punked the media this week when he made his implication concerning Obama. Trump talked about radical Islam, made a small implication about Obama, and then you have the sight of the president defending Islam after the most successful Islamic terror attack in the U.S.,
Since
and then the
9/11,
media reaffirming that defense of Islam for them. And to me, that association to the average voter is advantage Trump all the way.
Look, here's the deal, and this is the honest truth. The progressives have built a coalition based on not being a straight white male. Homosexuals, women, blacks, gays, Hispanics, etc., anybody who's not a straight white male is part of their coalition. Well, that's not a political movement. That's not a political movement, because you have groups within that coalition that are at war with other groups in that coalition. Islamic radicals hate homosexuals. They hate you, okay? Now,
and will kill you.
And will kill you. Now, I know a lot of great Christian conservatives in this country who don't agree with the Supreme Court decision about gay marriage. But if you're going to tell me that any one of those people is going to take a gun and shoot a gay person just for being gay, the gay community needs to look right now at the situation and realize who their friends are and who their enemies are.
I think Milo put it very well in his piece of
Milo's been
Breitbart.
great about this. Milo, who is a flaming homosexual. Milo's one of the most homosexual people I've ever met. Milo is completely on the Trump train.
If he was any more flaming, he would start brush fires in the
He
West.
started brush fires all over Fire Island. All over San Francisco's burning after Milo's been there. Milo's the gayest person I've ever met. Even Milo says you have to choose between Islam, even mainstream Islam, even the mainstream Quran says that homosexuality is an abomination. So are we going to support our gay community in this country, or are we going to support Islamic radicals from other countries? And this is one of the great failings of the Progressive Coalition, is that they tied together all these different groups and they didn't think about the consequences that would have.
Well, I actually theorize that in the end, the liberal coalition and the Democrats will throw the gay community under the bus once the Islamic population increases enough, because the gay population, I think, will stay fairly steady because it's a particular percentage over all populations.
My friend, who does the Clinton Foundation, who does Hillary Clinton get funded by? The Saudis? Saudi Arabia, perhaps?
This is my opinion, and I'm going to just say this as an opinion. I think she's owned.
Try to be a homosexual in Saudi Arabia. Try to be a homosexual in Saudi Arabia versus being a homosexual in America, and then talk to me about oppression. And talk to me about who the Democratic Party's real allegiances are to.
All right, they're closing up over here, so I want to give you a chance to plug your writing. Where can people find your work?
My name is Patrick Howley. I'm one of the great journalists of my time. I work for Breitbart.com. I follow in the tradition of the great man Andrew Breitbart, and I encourage all of you to go to Breitbart.com to see my articles.
And where can they find you on Twitter?
Patrick Howley, DC.
All right, Patrick Howley, Breitbart.com. Thank you so much for your time.
My friend, thank you for your time.